What's up, guys? Josh Mastel here. Thanks for tuning in to UpSell. I want to cover a really important topic today with you guys that I see all the time go wrong. I see a few companies, few salespeople, few sales groups do this really well. And I read a lot of articles on LinkedIn, and I'm so sick of seeing of people saying that cold calling is dead. So in this video, guys, by the end of this video, I'm going to give you my 3 golden rules for how to cold call like an absolute champ. The 3 most important golden rules to follow when you're cold calling to really boost your sales and get in front of as many customers as you possibly can. So before I get into that, I want to talk to you guys about the idea that cold calling, listen to me, cold calling is alive and well, and it's not going anywhere. The cell phone is the most important and deal-changing communication device in the history of our generation, of the world today. It's not going anywhere. Listen, I'm not bashing the fact that there's probably great marketers out there and great drip campaigns and great funnels and great social media and marketing, digital media opportunities to bring customers to you. I love that stuff. I'm a huge fan of it. I believe in it. But at the end of the day, this guy is not going anywhere. There's not going to be a time where a customer is going to be completely turned off to the idea of talking to another human on the end of the phone that can solve their problem. I understand there's a ton of data out there that customers make a lot of their decisions on the internet before they even talk to a salesperson, but salespeople are not going away. What's happening is the best salespeople are able to take a ton of market share right now because they're going to be able to beat the people who are refusing to cold call, who believe some of the garbage that's out there. So listen, if you could take on these 3 golden rules to cold calling, I guarantee you're going to be able to pass a lot of the competition that's believing a lot of this information out there being told that cold calling is dead. So number 1, first of all, when cold calling, you have to remember, golden rule number 1, who are you calling? Huge mistake I see a lot of times. Salespeople just simply don't have long enough lists. You need to spend time after work during unprimed customer contact hours building out and finding more and more leads to call. Secondly to that, don't spend all your time banging your head against the phone, calling cold, freezing cold, Arctic tundra, Alaskan air leads. People who you have no clue if they're users or not, or if they need your service or product or not. Get really good at getting referrals from your current customer base and finding warm leads of people who need your services. So the cold call can turn a lot faster into a warm call. So golden rule number 1, make sure you're focused on who you're calling. Number 2, you got to spend some time thinking about how you're calling. So just like riding a bike, just like playing a sport, just like anything else, cold calling is a skill. It needs to be developed. It needs to be worked on. It needs to be tweaked. It needs to be practiced. So a huge thing I recommend, especially for you new folks out there getting into cold calling, you've got to think up and draft up a script that you're going to use, that you can memorize and you can work on, so every call you're going in confident. Now, listen, I'm not a big fan of being a robot on the phone and scripting everything that you're saying and reading off of paper. But when you're new, you need confidence. So think up a script that works, work with someone to develop a script that works, and use that as your basis until you get some experience and you start to get really good. Huge mistake I see a lot of you cold callers out there. You're so into the script and so into your pitch of what you're getting to try to get the appointment or get the meeting or get the that initial pitch on the call, you're forgetting to listen. So in cold calling, the number 1 thing I work with people on when you're cold calling, your ears have to be wide open. A lot of times, it's as simple as listening to what the other person's saying on the other line for you to deal with objections or you to get to where you want to go. So listen in how you're cold calling. Lastly, 3rd golden rule in cold calling like a champ. Look at not just who you're calling, not just how you're calling, but 3rd, how hard you're calling. This is where the top 1 to 2% beat the rest of their competition because they simply hit the ground harder than everybody else. huge error I see, especially in young people, is cold calling can be discouraging sometimes. So what they do is they let themselves get distracted. They don't make the volume of calls necessary to achieve the results that they want. At the end of the day, folks, it does not take a long time. If you build a good set of leads and do your homework outside of work, it does not take that much time to blast out 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 cold calls in a day. Sometimes that's what it takes. So secondly to that, be creative on when you're cold calling, who you're cold calling when. So the pace of how hard you hit your cold calling strategy is a huge part of this game. So to recap, guys, number 1, who are you cold calling? Number 2, how are you cold calling? Work on your game. And number 3, how hard are you cold calling? You've got to hit the streets hard to make it in this game. Thanks for tuning in. Josh Mastel here. Thanks for listening to UpSell. Please share this with some folks that you know could use some help in the cold calling game, and hit subscribe below on the YouTube channel to be the first to hear on some new sales tips coming out in the near future. Talk to you soon, guys.